All right, we are out shooting some other content. We're doing some winter camping. I've got the Moors Kahansky super shelter and a fire going. We just had some slumgullion stew, which was really good.
Shockingly
good, yes. So this morning I posted on the community page, ask me anything. And so here we have your questions. We're gonna read them back and answer them. And then I've got some questions for Joe. He doesn't know what's gonna happen. And we'll just have some fun with it. So here we go.
I would assume this is Arizona Outdoors. AZ Outdoors asks, are you a big game hunter?
Oh, a big game hunter, okay. I'm assuming you mean like giraffes or like lions or rhinos and stuff like that. I'm not a big game hunter. Maybe you mean a big game hunter. Maybe it's all game and I just am like really into it. I don't know. I used to hunt, but I don't so much anymore. It's just a life thing. It's just a convenience thing. I don't have a whole lot of time to devote to that hobby. I'm really into camping right now, really into like survival stuff. Maybe he means a big game hunter, like board games.
Ooh,
because if that's the case,
find those good ones.
I am a big game hunter. I love a good game. Yeah. So like strategy, board games, I'm all about that.
What's your favorite right now?
My favorite board game right now. That's such a hard question. I really enjoy any of the Tiny Epic games.
Yeah.
By Scott Alms. My favorite is the space one, and it's eluding me right now. Okay, so I got a question for you now.
Uh-oh.
What do you think bugs dream about?
What do bugs dream about? Man, finding the biggest leaf. Just the biggest leaf possible that they can live on and eat the rest of their lives.
That's all I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Oh, man. Leaves. They dream of leaves.
Yes.
Okay. This comes from Pedro DJSJ1.
Okay.
Pedro asks, should you get an axe for batoning wood or is a large knife fine?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I mean, it depends on the size of the wood that you're trying to split down. So I think that a proper use for a knife in batoning wood, if you have a knife that's made for it, like if the tang of the knife, the part that's inside the handle, if that part is made properly and not like a little tiny piece, you know, then you could split wood with a knife. And I wouldn't split anything bigger than about that, you know, about 2 inches in diameter. Mm-hmm. The reason for that is because most knives, you know, you start hitting them into the wood and you need to actually have something to hit on. If you put your knife onto a log that's just as long as the blade is, you're going to bury the knife and you're not going to be able to get it back out again. I think that you want to have an axe to split wood for anything that's bigger than 2 inches in diameter, basically. You know, a hatchet would be used for small stuff, like this big round or so. But then once you start getting into actual logs, you're going to need an axe. You're not going to be able to do that with a knife.
So, you know, I went to Menards and I needed to buy a new axe, and I saw that there was a chopper and a splitter. What's the difference?
A chopper and a splitter. Okay, great question. So a chopper is going to be like an axe shape that is more meant for cutting down a tree or for removing wood. It's a little bit, you know, a little bit more acute of an angle.
Okay.
So it slices into the wood versus a chopper or a splitter, like a splitting maul, they call them. They're going to be more like a wedge, and they're not very sharp. They're just meant to like literally wedge the wood apart.
Oops.
So they are different. A maul, a splitting maul, you can swing it, but you can also hit it. So it's the way it's tempered is that you can actually hit it with a sledgehammer as well. Another question for you.
Yes.
Okay. For the rest of your life, would you rather farm kale or have a detachable tail?
Oh, detachable tail.
Why?
Easily. Oh, that sounds fun. Yeah, that sounds awesome.
What sounds awesome and fun about a detachable tail?
Okay, well, just having a tail in general, I think would be so fun. I mean, okay, so if it's detachable, then I would assume it's like a lizard type tail.
Okay.
I would assume just because lizards, you know, detachable, they grow back. And that would help with swimming a lot. I love to swim, and you know, having that momentum, you could be like an iguana.
Dang,
that'd be awesome.
Wow, such detail in this answer.
And then I think it would be a great party trick, just being able to like take it off and be like, "Hey, here it is."
Right, totally. Yeah. I agree. Wow. That was very detailed. Okay.
From Brian Smith Jr., MQ5Z0.
Right on.
How long have you been doing survival tactics for?
Tactics. I think just like survival. He probably means survival in general. I think I've been like interested in it and practicing it for, probably like almost 30 years now. So I'm 39. I'll be 40 this year. I know I look so young, right? But I got into like survival and getting in, going outdoors and like adventure camping around 9 years old. So yeah, it's been a minute. And I mean, it's been a process. Like you don't just start doing it and you're good at everything. You really need to just focus on one thing to learn at a time and build on that. And eventually one day you'll have enough skills to go out with a friend and go camping like this. And then maybe one day you'll have enough skills and confidence to go out solo, and start doing solo adventures and stuff like that.
Hunter Williams 7338 asks, big fan. Ever thought about trying to participate on the show alone? Opinions on the show?
Nice. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Hunter. Great question. I have thought about it a lot. I absolutely love the show alone. It is very cool. They let you pick the items you're going to take on. You only have so many that you can take with you. And they drop you in this situation. You have to make the best of it. I love how realistic it is. I have thought about it, but here's the thing. I have a family. I have 2 little kids and a wife, and I don't think I could leave them for that long. I think the psychological aspect of it would be very hard for me. Sure. If I wasn't, if my kids were older, maybe, if they were like in maybe like high school or something like that.
How long do you have to be on the show? How long does Alone take place?
Alone, some of the contestants stay out there as long as 100 days.
Oh.
So, that's a very long time. I think that the psychological battle at that point is the hardest.
Sure.
I would enjoy being on the show, but I don't know that I would enjoy being away from my family for that long. Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, great question. I have a friend, DJ, who runs Bare Essentials YouTube channel, and he was a contestant on Alone. He was an alternate. He practiced and trained to be an alternate, was there, and got to go through the boot camp and everything. And so super cool. That guy is awesome, by the way. Definitely check out DJ's channel. Great question. I got another question for you.
All right, let's go.
All right, let's see here. I got to pull up my notes.
Okay.
What's been fun for you as being the editor-in-chief on this channel?
Oh my gosh. I have learned so much in a short amount of time, and it has been really fun.
Yeah.
And just like today, you had to make a feather stick, and I automatically knew what you were doing. I didn't have to think through, and I didn't have to ask questions, and that's what's really fun is just stepping into a space that I know a little bit about, but not enough that I could ever do, or maybe not ever, but for a long time, do it on my own.
Sure.
And just getting more and more comfortable and learning more, and you're a treat to be with and learn from.
A treat?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
I learned so
Appreciate
much
that.
from you, and it's just a joy.
Thank you, dude.
Absolutely.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And why
really
shouldn't it
is.
be fun?
It's so much fun.
Yeah. I think in this genre of survival and outdoors and camping, people can sometimes take it too seriously, and they take all the fun out of it. The likelihood that you're actually going to be in this kind of a situation is pretty low.
Right.
But the value for me is that I'm training, and it's giving me more confidence and in everyday life circumstances. So yeah. There's a lot of value to it. And it's great having you around, man. It's great.
You.
You're doing a great job. Isn't he doing a great job? He's doing a great job.
Shucks.
So, yeah.
All right.
What's next?
Ooh, okay, this is fun. From Adrian Vidovic, 7. Do you like carving?
Oh, Adrian. I love carving. I have been carving since I was about 13. And I went through a phase in my teens where I was really obsessed with woodworking, and I did a lot of woodworking. And funny story, well, not really that funny, but I got a carving knife. My parents bought it for me, and I started carving this turtle. And it was kind of late at night, and I ended up looking up at the clock to see what time it was, and wasn't paying attention, and I buried the carving knife into my hand. So you see that scar?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it went all the way to the bone, and I like stood there for a second, and I was like, I can't believe what I just did. And I kind of like moved it like it was talking for a second, and then it started bleeding everywhere.
Oh my god!
Only 4 stitches for this 1 inch cut. It's an exact 1 inch cut too.
Wow!
So I can use it to measure stuff. So it's handy.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love carving.
Gosh.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's been something that you really loved carving, or like something you felt accomplished when you finished it?
Totally. So I carved this thing out of a 2 inch square piece of pine, which is not the easiest to carve because it's kind of a funky grain, coarse grain. But it's like a captive fidget thing. So it's got like spheres inside of a cage, and then the whole thing rotates. So like it's all captive carved that way,
Wow.
not assembled. I was proud of that because it took me a long time.
From Outdoor Nerd 5643, hammocks or tents, and why?
Oh man, awesome question. Hammock or tent? Oh, so okay, we are right now camping on the Ice Age Trail. The Ice Age Trail is a like 1,200 mile long footpath through Wisconsin. It's a national trail, and I say this because like 6 years ago, I did a huge section of the Ice Age Trail all with a hammock. It's about 530 some miles of this trail, and all I took with me was a hammock. And so I had like a 20-pound bag. That was my loadout, and I would do some of it in sections. I'd do days at a time, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I haven't done much hammock camping the last few years. I think I've kind of a little bit fallen out of love with it, but that's just because I've done so much winter camping. Now you can camp in the winter with a hammock if you put quilts underneath it and stuff like that. It's super cozy, but I'm like almost 40, and I feel like I need a little bit better hammock than the one I have to feel more comfortable at night. Otherwise, I turn into a big pretzel. You got to have the ones with like the spreader bars on them, so they're a little bit more flat. But I have to sleep sideways in a hammock and then roll around a little bit. So I've got a whole system, but love hammocks. Haven't slept in them in a while. Right now, it's tents for me, but I could see you doing hammocks in the summer again.
Yeah. Do you ever deal with the claustrophobia? That's one thing. Like I always hit it, and I can't.
Totally.
I can't do the hammocks for me.
Totally. Yeah. So like my friend Dan Becker, he's got a huge channel. He started off hammock camping. He had claustrophobia when he was in his hammock, and he found a solution for that was to put a little tiny light inside of the hammock with you, so it illuminates the space, and then he was able to he handled it so much better.
Just the orientation.
Just
kind of
feeling
thing?
like there wasn't like this nebulous, like I don't know where the walls are. You put the light in there and you could actually have like a point of reference.
Sure.
It helps.
Yeah.
So it helps with anxiety.
That makes sense.
So there you go. There's a tip for you if you have anxiety about claustrophobia in a hammock.
Yeah. It's from Evan Moss. Hey, commenting from France.
Dude.
How cool is that? And my question is, how do you get through hard patches on YouTube? Can you also maybe check out my channel as it was inspired by people like you?
That's awesome. First of all, France, that's super cool to get a comment from France. Yeah, there's hard patches on YouTube. As a creator, I'm going to tell you, it is so hard to do this on a daily, weekly basis. It is like a roller coaster ride. And all I can say is that it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like, you have to think of it in the terms of like, this is a 10-year project. And when you think about it in that like long time horizon, it helps kind of smooth out the bumps along the way, because you're going to have negative comments. Those people get booted. It's just the way it is. I don't want people like that in this community. I want positive people. You're going to have times where you just kind of don't have inspiration anymore. And those are the times when you need to go step back, consume some other content, read a book, go out in nature, remember why you're doing this. And just above all, like, you have to be authentic and show people your flaws, show people the mistakes, because that's what's going to ultimately allow you to keep going. Where I see a lot of creators burn out is when they're trying to force themselves to be somebody else.
Yeah.
And that lasts like 2 months, where you're so inspired by somebody else's work, you try to be like that, but then you can't sustain that.
Yeah.
And it's not authentic. Your audience is going to recognize right away that it's derivative and it's not going to be entertaining or useful.
Yeah.
So I have struggled with that so many times, just kind of staying on track. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that there's nobody that can tell you exactly how to do your channel. No. So you need to have friends, and you need to have a lot of them in the space, the YouTube space, to talk to, and they give you different perspectives. So I have a a group of friends that I am constantly talking to and getting input from, and they're challenging me and giving me ideas. That's the only way to make it in this weird segment of the internet called YouTube. Yeah. So I'm so happy that you are making content. I'm going to check out your channel. Definitely keep going. Email me with questions you have. It's a goal of mine this year to help creators get in front of the camera actually, and do more of this. Well, thank you so much for sending in your questions. We will see you later.
Cool.
Yeah?
Yeah. Tight.
That was fun. That camera is running out of battery.
Is it? Woo!